My name is Emily. I'm from St Joseph's Comprehensive School in Hewett. I've come here because I have an interest in the topics regarding the debate and also to learn a bit more about the filmmaking process.
Hi, I'm Heather Robinson. I'm 19 years old and I'm from St Joseph's. And I'm here today because I really do enjoy debating, so I'm looking forward to all the debates today.
Hi, my name's Helen Adams. I go to Dame Allen's School in Fenham, and I've come here today because my form teacher heard about it, got an email through something he'd signed up to, and he said that he thought I might enjoy it, so he gave me the details and everything. And I do politics, so I thought a debating thing would be useful for my progress in that.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Thompson. I'm an Oldroyd student. I'm here today for the debates to discuss a variety of topics.
Before coming today, I was just of the opinion that it was a given that there was too many people, but I've just had a group discussion out there and we talked about how the methods of collecting exactly how many people there are can be sort of not accurate, and I'm not sure now, so I think I'll watch the debate and then decide.
I think the world we live in it's clearly running out of resources, food, energy resources, and even things as simple as space for people to live in. You just have to look over in countries like India, where you have people living in slums with an awful lot of people crammed into the smallest amount of space possible. But I do think with the population thing, it's very easy to look at developing nations and say they have too many people, we should solve that problem over there. We in the developed West, we're fine. But I think that's a very naive idea, and you have to think in a developed nation how much more resources one person in a developed country takes up compared to, say, maybe 5 people in a developing nation.
I think that there are too many people. I think a lot what I've read, which isn't much on the subject, a lot of very clever people are saying that there is, but whether or not we should go off that, since I think we all know that the media have a way of persuading its viewers and readers into thinking what the author wants them to think, so I'm sure that there'll be a lot of interesting changes, in my opinion, throughout the day.
I think that the population of the world today is a natural course that's been taken majoritively. I think there have been some medical, some scientific aids to that have probably increased it somewhat. I think that the problems are resource and resource distribution based, and that there are systems that we can put in place if a large enough think tank and ideas and options are opened up and there's enough tolerance. I think that the increasing population shouldn't be any sort of a problem to the group.
In theory, I don't like the idea of technical fixes because, well, I mean, personally, every time I get a piece of technology, I manage to break it. And it does sound like you're creating a quick fix which might have bigger problems in the future. But I think it's only a natural progression. We can't fix things ourselves. We can't, make more crops grow. We have to have a technical way of doing things. And I think it's quite unfair on technology at the moment that we look down with such contempt and think it's awful, whereas you just look at the Industrial Revolution. Britain wouldn't be the same if it hadn't been for things like the spinning jenny, which was hated by so many people. We need new technology to be able to develop, and yes, it does sometimes cause a lot more problems than it's worth, but we are developing and refining technology, so I think eventually technology probably will be the only thing we can do to fix problems.
Well, technical solutions to problems, sort of like genetic engineering, that kind of thing. Off the top of my head, that's the only example I can think of. I think they can be very useful. With the example of genetic engineering, I know there was one I heard where they were genetically engineering rice to have more vitamin A in it because it was a problem, vitamin A deficiency in countries like Bangladesh. Sometimes like these designer babies people are on about, I think that's a bit sort of playing God.
I'm actually all for technical fixes. I think that if we've got the technology, we've developed it. I mean, we've used the intelligence that the human race has got to create these devices. Why not use them to make life better? I think if we leave, climate change to sort of sort itself out, we've seen how it's gone so far, and it's not going too well. So I think we need to do everything that we can to try and save the planet.
I personally am much more of a scientist than a philosopher, and I think that any sort of intellectual, technical, scientific ideas that we can put in to prolong life, increasing quality of life, is definitely a good thing. I think that we're now in the 21st century, where in a grand scheme of things, and anything that we can contribute from that side is definitely a benefit.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I've really enjoyed today. I thought it's been really interesting, quite challenging as well, some of the ideas that came across. In the first debate, my opinions haven't changed. I still think there's a problem with population, and I think Roger put forward very, very convincing argument. But I do agree with some of the other speakers' points, and I think as well you do need, in that kind of debate, to really think of the sort of the human impact, and it is really difficult to think objectively.
Today's been really interesting and I found it very educational, and in particular with this morning's debate, talking to the two speakers, Liddy and Patrick, whose ideas were kind of opposed to what I always thought about. It opened me up to their way of thinking, even though I still do agree with Roger and
Sandy,
yes, that was it. It was just interesting to see their way of thinking and understand where they were coming from.
The second debate, I'll admit I was a bit baffled, but afterwards getting to talk through with Ian especially, I do think technological fixes can come in handy. I think their definition was slightly different to the one I had in my mind when the debate started, so it was quite good getting to see how other people approached the same question.
With the second debate, like Heather said, a lot of it went over my head too, but talking afterwards with Ian really did help clear it up, especially see sort of a different interpretation of what we had originally thought the question was going to be about. And it was really interesting to see a view that opposed my own and almost be convinced.